Legend of Legaia is an RPG for the PlayStation 1 that released in Japan in 1998 and in North America in 1999. This game is an RPG with a very dedicated fan base, and it is often brought up when people mention some of their favorite RPG games for the PS1. I first came across Legend of Legaia when I played a demo, and I was very intrigued by the game's unique combat and music, and I eventually went out and bought the game and played through it. Recently, I replayed the game on stream, and after finishing the game through on stream, I'm going to now review it here and give my thoughts on it. The reason why you should watch my review over any other review on YouTube is that I watched every other Legend of Legaia review on YouTube, and in my review, I'm going to mention something that only one other review mentioned on YouTube. Although this review also mentioned the thing that I'm going to be talking about, they gave no examples about it, and in my review, I'm going to show you an example of it, and you're going to go, wow, this is massive. This is something that is going to make a big difference in my gameplay through the game. This information is going to help out a ton, and I'm going to give you very important, very valuable information about the game. And with all that being said, let's get right on to the review for Legend of Legaia for the PlayStation 1. Legend of Legaia begins with you playing the role of a blue-haired silent protagonist named Vaughn. One day, while in the town of Realm, the town's walls are broken down and a mist begins to surround the town of Realm. The mist is the source of the conflict in the world of Legend of Legaia and causes the Seru creatures who inhabit the world of Legaia to turn into ferocious, dangerous monsters that attack and harm people. Vaughn's village becomes under attack from the Seru, and Vaughn and the other villagers in town are forced to fight back to save their lives. Vaughn makes his way to the center of the town where the town's Genesis tree is, and using the power of the Genesis tree, he is able to clear away the mist in the village and make the village go back to normal. Upon the mist clearing, Vaughn meets with what is called a Raw Seru. Raw Seru are powerful sentient beings that sweep in the Genesis trees in the world of Legaia, and they are on a holy mission to save the people of the world of Legaia in a time of great peril. The Raw Seru introduces itself as Meta and tells Vaughn he must go on a journey to clear the world of Legaia of the dangerous mist that has overtaken the world of Legaia. From that point on, Vaughn travels to the different Genesis trees in the world of Legaia to try and clear out as much of the mist as possible. Eventually, Vaughn will cross paths with two other heroes, Noah and Gala, who will team up with him on his journey to go to the different Genesis trees and try to clear out the mist in the world of Legaia. Now that I've talked a little bit about what Legend of Legaia is all about in terms of the story, let's start talking about what this game plays like. Gameplay-wise, Legend of Legaia is a turn-based RPG. You'll buy items at towns using gold obtained from battles, and upon exiting an area, you'll go onto a world map you travel across to get to different locations in the game. In areas with monsters, you'll get into battle via random encounters. Legend of Legaia has a very unique battle system. The game has a turn-based RPG battle system that was heavily influenced by fighting games of the time. You input move commands onto a gauge, and putting certain moves in a certain order will cause you to do certain special attacks that will do a lot of damage. It's really unlike any other combat system out there, and it definitely helps to make Legend of Legaia's combat stand out from its competitors around that time period. Aside from those attacks, you can also use items, do what is called spiriting, which has your character defend and charge up to extend their move gauge, so they can put in more move inputs to do more powerful attacks, and you can also use Seru spells in battle, which can do damage or heal your characters. Once you win a battle in Legend of Legaia, you'll be awarded EXP and gold. EXP is something where if you get enough of it, your characters level up and they'll get stronger. Meanwhile, the gold you get from battles, you can spend at towns and basically go to stores in towns, buy better items, buy new weapons and armor for your characters, and help your characters get more powerful by doing so. Now, Legend of Legaia has kind of a unique magic system. Instead of leveling and getting new spells for your characters by leveling, you instead get spells from battling enemies. In Legend of Legaia, during battles, you'll encounter Seru monsters, and upon defeating certain ones, you have a chance to absorb their power and to obtain their power as a castable spell in battle. Once you get a Seru spell, you can have your characters cast it in battle by using MP. Some Seru spells will be attack spells that damage enemies, and then other ones will be spells that heal your characters. Now, some problems with Legend of Legaia is that the battles can be slow. This game has very long attack animations that are unskippable, especially when you start doing some of the most powerful attacks in the game. So because of these long, unskippable attack animations, battles can go very slow. Another problem in the game is the way that the battle system is set up. So in Legend of Legaia, to do your most powerful attacks in battle, you gotta extend your move gauge. In order to extend the move gauge, you gotta use the Spirit command. So at the beginning of every battle in Legend of Legaia, most of the time you're going to be using the Spirit command to have your characters charge up and extend their move gauge. And so finally, once you got the move gauge extended, you'll input the commands to do your most powerful attacks, attack the enemy, and because of all this stuff you got to do with spiriting up and charging up to extend your move gauge at the beginning of every battle before you attack, this makes it like 1 minute to 2 minutes before you even attack an enemy. So the whole entire spiriting system and having to extend the move gauge and then the slow attack animations both combine to make a really slow battle system in this game. Another problem with Legend of Legaia, and the really important thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the review, is that there's major differences between the versions of the game. So in the US version of the game was actually made harder than the original Japanese version and the European PAL version of the game. And so because of this, the US version, you get lower EXP and gold from battles, and enemies have higher defense. Not only this, but I'm going to show you an example here in this video of the two different versions, the same exact story battle, the very first battle you get into in the game. And you'll see in the US version, I get a lower amount of EXP and gold from winning that same battle. But meanwhile, in the European version of the game, I get a higher amount of EXP and double the amount of gold. So first up is the US version of the game, and you'll see in the first story battle here, I defeat this enemy and I get 42 EXP and 15 gold. Now I'm going to show you that same exact first battle of the game in the PAL version of the game, the European version. So in the PAL version of the game, when I win that same exact battle, I get 55 EXP and 30 gold. That is a massive difference in the EXP and gold you get from battles. And all of this ties into my next problem with Legend of Legaia. So on my most recent playthrough of the game, the one you're seeing from my stream playthrough that I streamed, I played the European PAL version of the game. And basically, in that version of the game, like I showed, you get way better EXP and gold. Even despite the better EXP and money, there were parts of the game where I had to do over an hour straight of level grinding to get enough money to buy all equipment from the next town in the game. So imagine in the US version where you're getting about half the amount of gold each battle, lower EXP, and the enemies have higher defense, how much longer that is going to take. There's a lot of level grinding you gotta do in this game, and in the US version of the game, it's made even worse with the lower amount of EXP and money you get from battles. So if you have the option, absolutely play the European version over the US version. Both versions are completely in English, and the European version of the game is a way better experience. Aside from the gameplay, there's the story of Legend of Legaia. One of the most interesting things is that Legend of Legaia's story already starts out in a ruined world. In most RPG games, you're often a hero on a quest to prevent the world from being overtaken by an evil force or from being destroyed. In Legend of Legaia, though, the world is already in a ruined state and the people live isolated in cities far away from each other. This added a unique dynamic to the storytelling in Legend of Legaia, and it really made it stand out from other RPGs that were made. I really liked how the game took place in this world that was overtaken by the mist and how the people were already in kind of this ruined world. Then there's the main characters of the game. Vong's the silent protagonist, and then there's the other two characters who join Noah and Gala. I felt Noah and Gala were both very well-written, entertaining characters. Noah was very hyper and energetic and brought a lot to the group with her energy. And then Gala was the voice of reason in the group, being the oldest and the most intelligent. And he was the one who kind of tried to reason with everybody and rationalize things. I also liked how throughout the main story, the whole mystery behind the mist gets more and more developed, and you find out a lot of plot twists about the mist and how the mist came to be. And there's actually a lot to the mist. It's not just some random force of evil, but there's actually a big backstory behind how the mist came to be. And there's a lot of plot twists for certain characters, especially Noah. And then there's the music in Legend of Legaia. The music in the game is pretty good. There's some good battle themes, some good boss themes. The Mist Generator Fortress area theme is really awesome, one of the best songs in the game. I really liked some of the town themes in the game and the road map theme as well. So overall, I felt like the music was really good in the game too. And then the last thing is the graphics. The out-of-battle graphics aren't too great, but the in-battle graphics are really good. The attack animations are really cool. The characters are very detailed in the battles. And the in-battle graphics were pretty good for the time. So overall, Legend of Legaia is an interesting game. It has a very unique battle system and some really good ideas. As I mentioned, Legend of Legaia had a lot of really great ideas, but the problem is that I felt like if this game was made at a later point in time with the same ideas, same battle system and everything, but it had more modern quality of life features that later RPGs had, like being able to skip attack animations, being able to increase battle speed, then some of the flaws of this game would have been fixed and would not have been a problem. But overall, it's still an enjoyable game. It has a few flaws here and there, but overall I enjoyed playing through it and I had a good time with it. But overall, that's my review of Legend of Legaia. As always, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who watched the review. I really greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much. I will catch everybody in the next review. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow me over on Twitch. I really greatly appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much.